This is your morning brief for Wednesday, May 8th. We got a couple of new reports out on Schein and Fleetcor. Both had pretty good earnings release. Schein was actually yesterday, and Street actually quite liked it. Shares are up about 5%, considering how bad the tape was. It was pretty remarkable. Fleetcor came out last night. I think it was pretty good, but go watch the report. There's more to it. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now. Stocks were down for the second day in a row. Markets continue to fret over the trade problems with the U.S. and China not having a deal, and more tariff threats from the Trump administration. And futures are down as well, so it doesn't look like we're going to get much of a reprieve today, if at all. And there's another report out on Chinese exports falling 2.7%, adding to the concern that the global economy is slowing. Now, I don't know how much of a shock this is to anybody. It did say it was a surprise in the articles that I read, but surprise. We just talked about not having a deal with the U.S., their major export country they would export to. What's so shocking about it dropping 2.7%? Anyways, but the market doesn't like it. You can tell the pre-market futures kind of were not too good, and it seems like a legitimate reason to me. Like I say, sometimes there's no news out there, and these pundits just make up a reason. But I think this is legit. It's not good when exports are down, but it shouldn't be a big surprise, in my opinion. Okay, Electronic Arts Revenue Soars beat revenue by 13% and earnings by 45%. Excuse me, on the strength of Apex, a new game they released. I'm trying to think now. I thought it was January, but it might have been February. I'm not 100% sure. And it was a similar game to Fortnite, which has just been absolute killer, like unbelievable game that all the kids play, or any gamer, just not just kids anymore. And Apex did no marketing, or Electronic Arts did no marketing for Apex before they released it. Then they released it, and yes, there was fanfare around, once it was released, and they got 10 million users in the first day. Ridiculous, like unbelievable. So, and that has driven revenue, and we've talked about these before, but I'll give you a brief thing. They're not charging for games anymore, at least not all games. And Apex is an example. So it's free, but if you really expect to do well, you have to make these microtransactions. To get to the next level, you got to buy the next weapon or whatever. And really, you're at such a disadvantage that there's almost no way you would go to the next level without buying these weapons, because you just get decimated. And what's fun about that? Okay, more earnings reports out. Of course, we're in earnings season, so we got Disney on the docket, Honda Motors, Wendy's. In our small cap world, Ubiquiti Networks and N5 Global. So looking forward to those. So that's it for earnings reports. In sports, St. Louis gives Dallas the Blues by beating them in the game 7. I think it was overtime, if I'm not mistaken. And it looks like St. Louis moves on. We are just waiting now for the other final, which is the Avs and Sharks, and then we'll have the Final Four in the NHL. Nobody's in the Final Four yet in the NBA, but there are some elimination games today, so we shall see what happens there. That's your morning brief for Wednesday, May 8th.